So good day everyone, I am Miss Nikki May Monticelli from Group 6 and today we will tackle about the language experience method. But before anything else, let's play a game. And this game is called 4 Picks, 1 Word. And right now I will show you some pictures that you have to answer. If you can see this picture, what comes into your mind? Very good. It is language. How about this one? Very good. It is experience. So what is a language experience method is all about? So language experience method is a strategy to develop and reinforce reading and writing using personal experiences such as everyday happenings, common schools experiences, classroom events, or hands-on activity. And also the students themselves initiate with their own experience through projects and other resulting interactive activities, such as going on a field trip, seeing a movie, or looking at a picture. And language experience approach is a method actually uses students' own words to help them read. Example, your student may draw a picture of a dad in a car. In that case, you would write underneath the drawing that dad is in the car. This way, your student will remember much better what is written. And finally, the student will write the words and sentences alone. And also, the language experience approach supports learners' concept development and vocabulary growth while offering many opportunities for meaningful reading and writing activities through the use of personal experiences and oral language. And to some people, use this method as a first approach to reading in order to help their student understand that what they've drawn and what you have written is a form of communication between student and yourself. So language experience approach focuses on the 5 macro skills. First is listening. It is the most important skill wherein teachers can comprehend what the learners try to convey or how they address their sentence using their native language. Second is the speaking. In this approach, the learners communicate just like how they communicate at home because they have their own vocabularies and sometimes they speak with incomplete sentence or incorrect grammar but still understandable. For example, the teachers ask their learners of transportation in going to school and the learners will answer, "We rent bus," instead of saying, "We went by riding a bus." So third is reading. We already know that reading has the ability to draw meaning from the printed page or written text and interpret this information appropriately. So in this approach, what is written can now be read based on the student's experiences. Just like using familiar language, it makes good early reading material which can be read individually. Fourth is writing. It has the ability to help students to write a word correctly. So in this approach, learners can learn and determine the proper usage of grammar and construction of sentence or paragraphs. Lastly, viewing. So the learners here is more on visualizing something or anything. So working on the 5 language skills side by side aids fluency. It effectively helps develop learners' brand awareness since learners see the direct connection between image and word. With this, he or she can expand the vocabulary of language as they develop and encounter more experiences. So when can we use language experience method? We can use language experience method by following discussion, writing about different topics, and experience is captured which can later be about. For example, an excursion to the zoo, visit by the fireman, and an investigation of nocturnal animals. Also, we can use here simple sentences in a repetitive structure that our student can illustrate and copy. And also, it can support both their reading and writing skills. And We can also encourage our students to write their ideas using compound or complex sentences and expanded noun groups. And lastly, the writing here includes the labeling of a diagram. Next, Ms. Giselle will share with us of where can we use and who is the founder of Language Experience Method.
And since the language experience is a whole language approach that promotes reading and writing through the use of personal experience and oral language, so this can also be used in tutorial or classroom settings with homogeneous or heterogeneous groups of learners. So, wherein learners relate their experiences to a teacher or aide who can literally transcribes them. So these transcriptions are then used as the basis for other reading and writing activities. So in addition with that, language experience approach was originated in USA and are now used in many countries. So, the language experience approach was founded by Roach Van Allen in 1964. He is a leading proponent of the language experience approach and describes the following principles upon which it was founded. He says that what I can think about, I can say. What I can say, I can write. I can read what I have written, and I can read what others have written for me to read. So, this means that the emphasis for reading is that it constitutes one aspect of an integrated language communication process. And in each aspect, the child or the learner is actively engaged in a number of assumptions underlie the approach. So according to him, there are 5 assumptions that underlie this approach. First is reading is a communication process closely related to the learning and development of other language like processes writing, speaking, and listening. The second is there is a close relationship between a child's language development and his concept development. Third is learning to read is directly influenced by a child's attitudes, interests, and experiences. And for the fourth one is the difficulty experienced by many children in learning to read results from their confusion about the nature of the reading task. And for the last one, the purpose of teaching reading is to provide the child with a means for increasingly independent exploration in an expanding reel of experience.
How it is used. The experience, typically the language experience approach, involves a shared experience such as everyday happenings, common school experiences, a classroom event or hands-on activity, excursion, but can also include students' personal experiences or ideas. So the experience, its process begins with something the class does together, such as a field trip, an experiment, or more other hands-on activity. Spoken language. The teacher role in language experience is to support the student to recreate the experience orally. Or, in a language experience, the teacher's duty is to assist the student in verbally recreating the experience as follows. Capitalize on students' interests and experiences. First, prompt the student to reflect on the experience or take use of the interest and experiences of your students. Second, ask questions to elicit details about the experience through more explicit language, or encourage the pupils to think of what they've seen and done. Third, help a student rehearse the ideas they will be writing about, or use more detailed language to help kids practice the themes they will be writing about by asking questions to gather details about the experience. Reading. As the language experience texts are relevant to the student, The opportunity to read them aloud creates a positive experience and reinforces the reciprocity between reading and writing.
Now, we're gonna talk about why is important language experience approach. Wilson advocates the importance of the language experience approach. In Write Me a Sign, published 1979, a key message from this publication is that language is central learning in all areas of the publication. Wilson also acknowledged the need for the children to read published texts, which open up possibilities engaging with other people, language, and ideas as they become more experienced readers and writers. Although the language experience approach was created primarily to the purpose of improving reading skills, it can also be used to improve speaking, listening, and writing. This integrated method is unusual in that it starts with student-owned or shared experiences as the foundation for conversation, writing, and finally reading. Students develop better knowledge for the process, writing, and reading as they see their personal experiences. So that will be. Also, there are three essay questions to be answered. I will read the direction first. Answer the following question below in the easy type at least 10 sentences. Number one question is, what are the whole language approach and language experience approach? How do they differ from each other? Number two question is, does the language experience method important for student? Why or why not? Number three question is, what are the advantages of the language experience approach? And that's all for today. Hopefully you have learned something about language experience approach. God bless everyone. Thank you.